So both of these have exactly the same amount of gold. So does that mean that you can buy one or the other interchangeably? Welcome back, fellow savers, stackers, and metal enthusiasts. Today we're going to answer that question. Does one 1 ounce gold coin equal 10 1/10 ounce gold coins? Intuitively, the answer is yes, it's the same amount of gold. But when you actually start looking at the numbers and what you would end up paying for each of these, you're going to find a very different story. In fact, you'll find that it could cost you hundreds and hundreds of dollars more to buy this stack versus this coin. So let's get in front of the computer and take a look at some of the data I've been tracking, and I'll show you exactly why that's the case. Okay, here we go. What you see here is essentially a summary of my weekly performance and data tracking. It's updated as of last Friday, and we'll walk through all of the information that I track every week going back for a year now. And I'll show you what it looks like, what the trends are. My plans are to do this video every 2 weeks. So you'll see updates to this data every 2 weeks on a regular basis, just so you can see some of the same trends and some of the same data that I use for my personal stacking strategy. A couple of, I guess, what I'll call foundational things before we get into this. So what this tracks is specific premiums and performance on a weekly basis. And I use the same process, same time, same data, same everything every week, so I can create consistency and so that I can draw some conclusions based on what I see, knowing that everything has been consistent. It is custom tailored to my stacking strategy. So it focuses on the metals that I like to stack from the dealers that I like to buy from. It's not meant to be everything to everybody for all things that are out there. I mean, as stackers, you know, there's an almost unlimited number of formats and types of things you could stack. This is really based on and designed to help me with my stacking strategy and my decisions that I'm making. Now, what it is not is it is not investment or stacking advice, should not be used as such. Everybody is different. Everybody has their own strategies. So if you like what I do here, you can certainly take this and customize it for your own stacking strategies, your own preferences. So don't look at this in any way as giving you advice. Just like don't look at this as trying to say which dealers are good or which dealers are bad. Every dealer performs differently every week, and there are a number of factors that should go into why you would or would not buy from a dealer. So don't look at this as a final decision on which dealers to buy from. And then there's always things that get missed. You know, if I do an update on a specific day and then the very next day someone has a 1-day sale, it's not going to pick that up. This is because it's a long-term view of the data. It identifies trends, it shows trends, but it might miss a few things up and down. It's not perfect. What I track gold buffaloes, gold eagles, constitutional silver, and silver rounds. Those are the key things that I look at for my stack. Doesn't mean those are the only things I buy, but the data that I track is based on that. I track it from the 5 dealers listed in the upper right corner, and then a little bit about how I collect the data. So it's quantity of one, check or wire payments, and random year. So as you look at this chart, this gold line represents the average across all 5 dealers for quantity of one, check wire payment, and random year. And in this case, it's a 1 ounce American Eagle. So that's how I look at this data across the dealers. But then I also captured the lowest premium for any coin from any dealer. So there might be a 2022 American Gold Eagle from dealer A that has the lowest premium for that week. So I'm going to capture that as well. Finally, at the green line, what you see here is my attractive premium. That's just a line that I set to say, hey, if the premiums are at or around that line, it could be an attractive purchasing opportunity. And it just creates a little bit more focus for me as I'm looking through the data on a weekly basis. On the silver side, constitutional is just $10 face dealer choice. Rounds are ideally, it would be new rounds that are dealer choice. If they don't offer that, I use the Indians, Buffaloes. And then I also do the same thing where I look for the lowest premium for any silver round that's out there. Other data I track is gold silver ratio, dealer performance. So who has the lowest premiums, who has had the lowest number of total premiums, spot price variance, and year-to-date performance. And then I also have here Costco premiums. I'm not going to cover that in this video, but that is a very interesting dynamic to the market. I'll do a separate video on that in the future that I think you'll find really interesting. I know I certainly found it interesting as I started tracking their premiums as well. So let's jump in. Gold silver ratio. You guys all know this. You've heard this all the time. Week closed gold silver ratio just under 84. The way I've put together this chart for myself is that in the upper part of the chart, it's dark gray. This is the area where I feel silver is undervalued relative to gold. Similarly, on the bottom where it's dark gold, gold is undervalued to silver, and then there's a transition period in between. As you can see, silver has been in the undervalued category, in my opinion, for quite a while now. So that is why I continue to stack silver over gold. But I do add both to my stack on a regular basis. Speaking of gold, let's transition into looking at the performance of my gold coins. This is the Buffalo. What you see is in the last couple of weeks, the premiums have gone up quite a bit. So while if you were to do an average trend line here, it would probably be pretty flat for the year. In recent weeks, the premiums have spiked. The lowest premium of the week goes up and down quite a bit, and you can see that in this chart. So my takeaway here, or how I would use this, or how I do use this, is if I'm interested in picking up some gold buffaloes, I know that if I wait and if I'm patient, I'll see the premiums drop at or below my attractive line. So it's a hurry up and wait game when I see a chart like this. Now on the American Eagle side, very different story. The premiums on American Gold Eagles have been going up either dramatically or somewhat steadily for the last couple of months. You can see that in all 4 coin formats. None of them recently have been within my attractive premium, so I've not added any of these to my stack. But it is interesting to see how there was a period with, for example, the 1 ounce Gold Eagles where they were consistently below my attractive premium. But then recently something's changed and they have shot way up. And I don't know if that's a matter of dealers finally getting rid of some inventory they had or what's going on in the marketplace. But certainly, in my opinion, for my stack, American Gold Eagles of any format are not very attractive right now. On the silver side, somewhat of a different story. Silver Eagles their premiums have been very flat for the better part of a year. So I don't see now, none of them have dropped below my attractive premium line, but they've been kind of flat and holding steady. This is quite honestly where the Costco silver purchases have come in. And what you'll see when I launch that video is those premiums are regularly below my attractive premium line. So silver eagles have been holding steady. Constitutional silver dropping on average over the course of a year. In fact, they've dropped so much that I lowered my attractive premium line from $1.50 down to $1 over spot, and they still hit that. So constitutional silver, in my opinion, remains a good buy, a good thing to add to your stack. Generic silver rounds are kind of all over the place, and I only recently started tracking those. But as you can see, this is the one area where dealers just they use this as a loss leader, and their prices are constantly moving up and down without much trend or conclusions to draw there. Let's transition now over to dealer performance. Take a look at some of the data I have there. What you see here is for all of the gold coins that I track, how many times each dealer has been the lowest price for that coin for a week. So for example, American Gold Buffaloes, SD Bullion has been the lowest price for 16 weeks out of the total weeks I've been tracking this. American Gold Eagles, 1 ounce, Hero Bullion. And then for the fractionals, Monument Metals has been the lowest price consistently for that format. On the silver side, same thing. So tracking it, which dealers for these different formats have had the lowest price each week. And then I can add all of these together and say for all of my gold, which dealer has consistently had the lowest price for that week, and for all of the silver, which dealer has had the lowest price consistently for that week. So you get a sense here of which dealers compete and then which dealers really don't. And again, it doesn't indicate or point me to do business with or without or not a specific dealer. But what it does give me is a sense of, hey, here's where you want to look if you're looking for lowest prices of the week. Another area to look at, and this is probably something that you've seen as well, is you notice that if you go from dealer site to dealer site, they all use slightly different spot prices. And what I was wondering, or what I wanted to track was, are there dealers that are consistently higher or use a consistently higher spot price than others? And the answer is yes. If you look at this chart will tell you that these three dealers consistently use a spot price that is higher than other dealers. And again, it's not an absolute, but what it means is that if you're buying from a dealer who consistently uses a higher spot price, even if they lower their premiums, some of that is going to still come through in the spot price. So it's not a huge factor, but it is interesting to see, and it did at least answer a question to me: is that are there dealers that use higher spot prices? The answer is absolutely yes. And then the last thing I'll end on this one is just 2024 year-to-date returns. What you see here is that gold and silver kind of started the year pretty slow. And then on about March, they started a different trajectory. And now we're currently sitting at 36% and 30% year-to-date return versus where you see the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Dow Jones Industrial. So, people will say, is gold and silver a good investment? It's really not meant to be an investment. I think, as we all know, it's meant to be a store of wealth preservation. But this year, it actually is a store of wealth that is returning a nice return. So again, this is not meant to be investment advice. It's not meant to point you at or to say that you should invest in or you should stack gold and silver. But it is a great barometer as to how they are performing relative to other asset classes in the market. So that's it. Let me wrap up there. I know this has been a long video as well, so thank you for sticking around to the end. I hope the data here has been interesting and useful. As I said, I'm going to be putting these out every 2 weeks, really, again, with the intent of growing our knowledge, learning from history and driving our stacking strategies so we can rule the ratio together.